Hi everyone, in this video we are going to explore how to install Debian 13 on Oracle VirtualBox 7.1. Now, as you all know by now, Debian 13 is officially out and it was officially released on August the 9th, 2025. And to get more information about this latest release, you can head over to your browser and search for Debian 13 Trixie. Now head over to this link here. So this will take you to the Debian news blog where you can check out the latest information about this release. So for example, here you can see the desktop environments it comes with. You can see information about the packages. So as you can see here, it comes with 14,100 new packages, making a total count of 69,830 packages with 8,840 obsoleted. You can check out the updated software packages. Right, so down here you can see the supported architectures, and by the way, it officially supports RISC 64-bit architecture. Down here you can also see the cloud platforms that you can use Debian 13 on, and so on and so forth. So be sure to take your time and brush through the latest news. All right, in our next section we're going to see a breakdown of the steps we are going to follow. So for this step-by-step tutorial, this is what we are going to do. So first of all, we are going to download the Debian 13 ISO image file. Then later on, we're going to create a virtual machine. Then we will power the virtual machine and install Debian 13 with custom partitions. And then lastly, we are going to log in and update the system packages to the latest versions. Now in the last step, it's a bit technical and some configurations will be required. So be sure to stick right till the end. So this will be my disk layout. So I'm going to provision a virtual hard disk size of 150 gigs, and this will be my breakdown. So I'll allocate 40 gigabytes to the root partition. Then for the home partition, I'm going to give it 100 gigabytes. So this is where your personal data will go to, and this includes the documents, your photos, your videos, etc. Then finally, we are going to have the swap space taking 8 gigabytes. So the swap partition is a section of your hard drive that acts as an extension of the RAM, and it kicks in once the system memory is getting depleted, right? So this is a brief breakdown of what I'm going to have. So that's it. So now let's get our hands dirty and start with the installation. The first step will be to download the Debian 13 ISO image file. So to do so, head over back to your web browser and search for Debian 13 download. All right. So open this first link you see here. So I'm going to open this in a new tab, and this takes me to the Debian download section. Now here under the download and installation image subheading, you get two options. So you can either choose to download a small installation image or a complete installation image. Now the difference between the two is that a small installation image provides a smaller and minimal base system and primarily relies on the internet to download most packages. Now for the complete installation image, this one includes a larger set of prepackaged software, allowing you to install without the internet. So for the complete installation image, it contains all the packages, including all the desktop environments. So this is what you're going to go for, and this will give you the flexibility to choose the desktop environment you prefer. So I'm gonna click on the DVD ISO link here. So this will download the DVD ISO image file. As you can see, the download is in progress, but I already have this file already downloaded, and what I'm going to do, I'm just simply going to cancel this out. Now, once you have downloaded your ISO image file, the next step will be to create a virtual machine, and this is what you're going to do in the next section. With the ISO image file in place, the next step will be to create the virtual machine. So I'm gonna go ahead and launch the VirtualBox application, and this is what you get. So we're going to create the virtual machine from scratch, and to do so, head over and click the new button here. So this will open the graphical interface for creating the virtual machine, and we're going to fill the particulars of the virtual machine, starting off with the name. So here I'm going to give it the name Debian Trixie. So I'm going to leave this as it is. So this will be the path to the virtual machine. For the ISO image, I'm going to click on the pull down menu and select other. So this takes me to the location where I've saved the ISO image file, and I've saved it in the new volume partition in the folder called Debian 13, and this is the ISO image file. So I'm gonna select this and click open. So for the type and subtype as well as the version, I'm gonna leave these options as they are, and I'm gonna select skip unattended installation. So here I'm going to collapse the hardware section. So this allows me to select the memory and the processors. So here I'm gonna give it around 4096 megabytes. So this will be like 4 gigabytes. So for the processors, I'm gonna give it 2 CPUs. Next, I'm going to select the hard disk selection. So this allows me to select the capacity of the storage. So here I'm going to specify 150 gigabytes. So here I'm going to just click finish, and we are done. So the other thing you might want to do is to maybe modify a few settings. And to do so, just click on the settings button, click on system, and here you can play around with the memory. So you can adjust this as you so wish, but I'm going to leave it as it is. Also, you can increase or reduce the processors as you deem fit. And the other thing you can do is you can make a few changes to the network. So by default, this is selected to NAT. So in my case, I want to make use of the local area network subnet. So I can choose the bridged adapter. So this allows me, or this puts the virtual machine inside my local area network, and I'm gonna click OK. Now the virtual machine has been created. Now the next step, we are going to launch the virtual machine and kickstart the installation. To begin the installation, ensure your virtual machine is selected here and click start. So this will open the graphical user interface for the virtual machine, and this is what you'll see. So I'm going to close out this right sidebar here and maximize this window. So by default, this is what you have, and the graphical installation is selected, as you can see, and this is the method we are going to go with. So I'm going to hit enter. The first step will be to select the installation language. By default, this is set to English, so be sure to select your preferred installation language. So here I'm going to select English and click continue. Next, you'll be required to select your geographical location, and essentially this will set your local time zone. By default, this is set to United States, so be sure to select your preferred country. So in my case, I'm in Kenya, so I'm going to scroll down and select other. So I'm in Africa, I'm going to select Africa region and click continue. Then I'm going to select my country, which is Kenya, and click continue. Next, you'll be required to configure locales. By default, this is set to US UTF-8, and I'm gonna go with this since I'm comfortable with it, and click continue. The next step will be to select the keyboard layout. So here I'm gonna go with the default, which is American English, and click continue. So the installer will detect and mount the installation medium and load the additional components. So this will take a few seconds, so just be patient. So here you'll be required to provide the hostname for your system. So here I'm just going to leave it as it is. So you can provide your preferred hostname, but I'm okay with Debian. So I'm gonna click continue. So here you'll be required to provide the domain name. So in my case, I do not have a domain name, or my virtual machine won't be in any domain name. So I'm just gonna click continue. So here you'll be required to set up users and passwords, starting with the root password. So here I'm going to provide my preferred root password, and then I'm going to re-enter the password to confirm. Now I'm going to click continue. So in this part, you'll be required to create a user account, which you'll be using instead of the root account for non-administrative activities. So here I'm going to provide a user account name, in my case, James. Then I'm going to click continue. So this will also fill out James as the username for my account, and I'm okay with this. So I'm just gonna click continue. So here I'll provide the password for my user account. So here I'm going to provide the password and confirm it. Then I'm going to click continue. So this takes us to this section where you'll be required to configure your disk partitions. Now this is where you need to pay more attention, as we are going to configure manual partitions for our hard drive. So by default, this is set to guided, where the system will automatically partition and configure your disk partitions, and this method is particularly recommended for beginners or new users. For our case, I'm going to take a different route and I'm going to show you how to configure manual partitions, and this allows you to have full control of your disk partitions. So now I'm going to select manual and click continue. So in this section, you're going to select your hard drive. So in this case, I'm going to select the VBox hard disk, which is our hard drive on VirtualBox, and I'm going to select continue. So here you're going to select yes to create a new partition table. So proceed and click continue. So in this section here, you are provided with this layout here. So what you're going to do is to select the free space here and also click continue. So now you're going to start creating your disk partitions. So the first section here is pre-selected, create a new partition. So click continue. So here you're going to provide the new partition size. So for our root partition, we are going to specify 40 gigabytes. So I'm going to click continue and I'm going to select primary partition and click continue. I'm going to go with the beginning. So this allows you to create the partition at the beginning of the available space, and I'm going to click continue. So as you can see, this is the outline of your partition. We are going to use ext4 as the file system type. The mount point is automatically selected to root. All right, so these are the remaining details. So now just select done setting up the partition and click continue. And once you do that, this is how the partition table looks like. So this is our root partition. Now to create the other remaining partitions, go ahead and select free space and click continue. So here I'm going to go with create a new partition once again. So here I'm going to specify 100 gigabytes and click continue. And then I'm going to select primary, then continue from the beginning, then continue. And this is what you have. So as you can see, this has auto placed this to home partition, as you can see. So once I'm done, I'm going to select done setting up the partition. And once again, I'm going to click continue. So we currently have two partitions. We are remaining with the swap partition. So once again, I'm going to click on free space and hit continue, create a new partition. And then here I'm going to specify 8 gigabytes like that. And then click continue. So here you can choose either. So I'm just going to go ahead with primary from the beginning. And this is what you have. So as you can see here, this is set to ext4. So I'm just going to click on this and click continue. And then I'm going to select swap area, then click continue. And then I'm going to select users swap area. Finally, I'm going to click continue. And then done setting up the partition and click continue. So this is what we have here, right? Our partitions have already been created. And then the next step, I'm going to select finish partitioning and write changes to disk and then hit continue. So here, write changes to disk. I'm going to select yes and click continue. So this is going to partition our hard drive using the partition table we have just created. And then it's going to continue with the installation. So here you'll be prompted to scan additional media and insert another one. So since we only have one ISO image file, we are going to go with the default selection, which is no, and click continue. So here you'll be required to configure or specify a network mirror. So we are going to select yes and specify a network mirror. Okay, so this will be the list of countries from which you can select your mirror. So I'm going to select the default, which is my own country, and this will ensure the maximum speeds when installing packages. So I'm just going to click continue. So here I'm going to select the mirror that is closest to me. So in my case, I'm going to select the third option here. So this will be different in your home country. So be sure to select your closest mirror. So I'm just going to select that and click continue. So here I'll be asked to provide my HTTP proxy. So at the moment I'm not using any proxy, so I'm just going to click continue. In this section, we'll be asked to participate in a package user survey. So from time to time, your system will be sending statistics on the usage of your packages to Debian developers. So you can choose whether to participate in the survey or not. So this is entirely up to you. So I'm just going to leave this as no and click continue. In this section, you'll be required to select your preferred desktop environment alongside other packages. So by default, the Debian desktop environment and GNOME environments are pre-selected. So feel free to choose your preferred desktop environment. So as for me, I'll just go with the default selections, and then also I will want to select SSH server so that I can SSH into the system from a remote location. And then I'm going to select continue. Now this is going to take quite a while. At this point, I'm just going to fast forward the video and then resume once the installation is complete. So the installation took roughly 12 minutes in my case, and now we are being asked to install the grub bootloader, and we are going to select this option, yes. So I'm going to click continue, and then I'm going to select my hard drive, which is this one here, and then I'm going to select continue. So this will install the grub bootloader, which will enable your system to boot once you have restarted. And finally, the installation of Debian 13 is complete, and now you're being prompted to reboot the system. All right, so now we are going to click continue to reboot the system. So I'm just going to go ahead and click continue. And now, as you can see, the system is rebooting, and this is what you'll get once the system has rebooted. And this is the grub screen you get. So I'm going to go ahead with the reboot process. And finally, this is what you get once the system has rebooted. So at this point, I'm going to log in. So I'm going to click on this icon here and then provide my password and hit enter. So once you've logged in, you'll be ushered into the GNOME 48 environment. So as a start, you'll be presented with this graphical interface that will take you through a tour on Debian 13. So for now, I'm just going to skip this, and this is what you have. All right. So this looks quite good. Now, let me focus on a few post-installation tasks. So here I'm going to go over to my terminal. And once you have installed your system, you may want to check a few details. First of all, we are going to confirm our disk partitions. So to do that, you can run the lsblock command and hit enter. So as you can see, these are our partitions. So we have SDA1, which is our root partition, and we gave it 40 gigabytes. So this comes to roughly 37.3. Then this is our home partition, which we gave it 100 gigabytes. So as you can see, this is 93.1. And finally, the swap partition, which we gave it 8 gigabytes. So here it's 7.5 gigs. Alternatively, you can also use the df command to check the available disk space. So once again, this is /dev/sd1, which is our root partition. And as you can see, the size coincides with what we have here. All right. Then here we have the we have the home partition. Now you can run the free command to check the swap. And as you can see now, we have our memory, which is RAM, 3.8 gigs, which is roughly 4 gigabytes. And for the swap, we have 7.5, which is roughly 8 gigabytes. And that is what we specified during the installation process. All right. Now, I mentioned earlier that we need some configuration once we have installed. So for example, if I try to update the system, so I'm going to change to my root user and provide the password. So I'm root. So if I try to update the local package index, I'm going to get this error here. So as you can see, I'm running into an error. So I'm going to cancel this out. Okay, so as you can see, the repository, this one, does not have a release file. And the reason for this is because the ISO image has been ejected once we rebooted the system. So to resolve this error, what you're going to do is we're going to update the sources list file. So I'm gonna go ahead and navigate to the sources list directory. So cd/etc/apt. Then I'm going to check the files here. So this is a file that we need to modify. So I'm going to use the nano editor to modify the file. Okay, so our first entry here is the CD-ROM, which represents the ISO image we were using. And since it's been ejected, we need to comment out this line. So I'm going to comment out this line here, like that. And then I'm going to save changes by pressing Ctrl-O on the keyboard, then hit enter, then press Ctrl-X to exit. And once that is done, we can now update the local package index. So once again, I'm going to run the command apt-update and hit enter. And this time around, you can see everything is working as expected. So the other thing you might want to do is to add your user to the sudo group in order to allow you to run administrative tasks as root. So at the moment, you can check the groups your user belongs to. So I'm going to run the command groups James. So as you can see here, these are the groups that James belongs to. And the user James cannot run any administrative tasks. So we are going to add the user James to the sudo group. And to do that, I'm going to run the command usermod -a-g, then provide the name of the group, which is sudo, lastly, followed by my username, which is James. And once again, if I run the groups James command, you can see now that James is part of the sudo group. All right, so we can switch to James. And now we can try to run sudo commands. So for example, sudo apt-update and hit enter. Then I'll provide my sudo password and hit enter. And as you can see now, I can run commands as a sudo user. So that's it, guys, for this lecture. In this lecture, I walked you step by step on how to install Debian 13 on Oracle VirtualBox 7.1. And on top of that, we have made a few configurations to the sources list file, and we've added the user to the sudo group. So that's it, guys. In case you found this insightful, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel so that you can continue getting more of these Linux how-to tutorials. So that's it, guys, for this video. See you in the next video.